Stop what you're doing and check your pocket change right now, because some of the most valuable wheat pennies in America are still hiding in circulation while people spend them like they're worthless. These coins look old, dirty, and ordinary, but collectors are fighting over them for insane amounts of money. One tiny penny could be silent fortune, sitting in a coin jar, a glove box, or buried inside a forgotten drawer. And the scary part? Nobody talks about these hidden treasures until they're already gone. Do not spend these coins. The 3 pennies in this video get rarer, more valuable, and more shocking as we go. And the final coin could completely change how you look at every penny forever. The 1939 wheat penny with no mint mark is the kind of coin people throw aside without a second glance. And that's exactly why it's become such a dangerous hidden treasure. Most people see the green stains, the grey-black surface, the worn details, and immediately assume the coin is damaged or worthless. But serious collectors see something completely different. They see a survivor from one of the most tense periods in American history, a coin born just before the world exploded into chaos during the opening stages of World War II. That fear and uncertainty pushed the United States economy into a strange transition period, and millions of coins were being rushed through production as the country prepared for massive industrial pressure. This is not fiction. Some of those coins disappeared forever through circulation, corrosion, neglect, and melting, while a small number survived with their original surfaces still intact. And today, collectors are paying unbelievable money to own them. What makes the 1939 no mint mark wheat penny so fascinating is how ordinary it looks at first. It was struck at the main Philadelphia Mint, which means there is no mint mark underneath the date. That missing mint mark has become an obsession for Lincoln cent collectors because it connects the coin directly to one of the largest and most historic minting operations in American history. On the front of the coin, you'll see Abraham Lincoln's profile facing right, along with the words, "In God We Trust," across the top, "Liberty" to the left side, and the date 1939 near the lower edge. The reverse side carries the famous wheat stalk design framing the words 1 cent and United States of America, with E pluribus unum stretching across the upper center. Most people never study these details closely, but collectors absolutely do. Tiny differences in wear, darkness, strike sharpness, and original color can completely change the value. This detail changes everything. Now here's where the story gets even crazier. This penny was made from 95% copper mixed with tin and zinc, giving it that classic heavy bronze feel collectors instantly recognize. The coin weighs about 3.11 grams, has a diameter of 19.05 millimeters, and a thickness close to 1.55 millimeters. Its smooth edge, often called the girth by collectors in casual conversations, feels simple in your hand, but that small copper disc carries decades of American history. During 1939, the mint was under constant production pressure. Dies were wearing down fast, machines were overheating, and millions of coins were flooding into circulation. Because these pennies passed through countless hands during wartime uncertainty and economic struggle, finding one today in fine condition with original surfaces is becoming extremely difficult. Most surviving examples were cleaned, scratched, polished, or damaged by people who had no idea they were destroying serious money. And that warning matters more than you think. Never clean this coin. Even if it looks dirty, dark, green, or stained, collectors often prefer those original surfaces over a shiny, cleaned example. Those gray-black spots and green areas people hate are sometimes the exact evidence proving the coin has never been tampered with. Original toning matters. The moment someone scrubs the surface or uses chemicals to brighten the copper, the natural texture gets destroyed forever. That silent damage can collapse the value instantly. Professional grading is critical because experts examine the surface under magnification to confirm whether the coin still carries authentic age and originality. Most people miss this and accidentally ruin hidden wealth sitting in their own homes. Do not spend this coin, and absolutely do not try to improve it before having it checked. What truly drives collectors wild is the emotional side of this penny. It represents a disappearing era of American coinage that people can still technically find in circulation, even though the odds are becoming terrifyingly low. Auction rooms become strangely quiet when a strong 1,939 no mint mark wheat penny appears because experienced buyers don't want to scare competitors away too early. Then suddenly the bidding jumps hard. Collectors who already own one often refuse to sell because they believe the supply is shrinking faster every year. Demand keeps climbing while surviving original examples continue disappearing into private collections. And when a fine condition coin with attractive dark surfaces and authentic aging enters the market, serious buyers move aggressively. Today, examples like this have reached shocking market values around $360,100 in the United States under the right collector conditions, turning a forgotten 1-cent piece into life-changing opportunity. If you ever find a 1,939 wheat penny, the first thing to check is the missing mint mark beneath the date area. Then, look carefully at the surface. Don't panic if you see dark toning, green oxidation spots, or uneven aging. Those signs can actually support authenticity if the coin still has its natural skin untouched. Hold it gently by the edges, avoid fingerprints, and place it in a protective holder immediately. Patience creates wealth in coin collecting because the people who rush usually lose money, while the people who preserve history quietly build silent fortune over time. This coin may look ugly to ordinary people, but to the right collector, it looks like treasure hiding in plain sight. And what comes next is even bigger. The next wheat penny in this video looks even more ordinary than this one. Yet collectors are treating it like buried gold because of one terrifying detail almost nobody notices until it's too late. Stay till the end, because the next coin could make this 1,939 penny look small. Most people would never imagine that a dark, stained 1,941 wheat penny sitting at the bottom of a dusty jar could secretly be worth more than a luxury house. That's what makes this coin so dangerous to ignore. The grey-black color, the scattered green spots, the worn edges, those are the exact reasons ordinary people spend it without thinking twice. But collectors, they stop cold when they see one with original surfaces still alive underneath decades of aging. And the terrifying part is this. Many of these pennies are still floating through circulation right now, being handed over for coffee, gas, or spare change. Do not spend this coin, because what looks like an old forgotten cent may actually be hidden wealth slipping through someone's fingers forever. The year 1941 carried enormous pressure across the United States. The country stood on the edge of global war. Factories were shifting toward military production, and the economy was transforming almost overnight. Americans were uncertain, nervous, and spending every coin they had to survive changing times. The Philadelphia Mint was producing huge amounts of Lincoln wheat pennies to keep commerce moving, and that intense production pressure caused heavy die fatigue, machine stress, and rushed minting conditions. This is exactly why surviving 1,941 wheat pennies in authentic fine condition have become so desirable today. Many coins from that era were used relentlessly through wartime circulation, then later discarded, corroded, or damaged by cleaning attempts. What survives now is becoming harder to find every single year, especially examples with untouched surfaces and strong historical character. At first glance, the 1941 no-mint mark wheat penny seems simple. Abraham Lincoln's portrait appears to the obverse side facing right, carrying the familiar words, "In God we trust," above his head, "Liberty" along the left side, and the date 1941 positioned near the lower edge. Under the date, there's something missing that collectors obsess over. No mint mark at all. That absence confirms it came from the historic Philadelphia Mint, one of the most important coin-producing facilities in American history. Flip the penny over, and you'll see the famous wheat ears framing 1 cent and United States of America, while E pluribus unum stretches across the upper reverse. Most people barely glance at these details, but experienced collectors study every letter, every line, every patch of toning, because tiny differences can mean serious money. This detail changes everything. The physical makeup of the coin adds even more fascination. The 1941 wheat penny was struck using a bronze alloy made primarily of 95% copper, blended with tin and zinc. It weighs approximately 3.11 grams and measures around 19.05 millimeters in diameter with a thickness near 1.55 millimeters. When you hold one, it has a solid vintage feel modern coins simply don't have anymore. Its smooth edge, often casually called the girth among collectors describing its physical form, carries decades of wear from pockets, registers, and hands that likely never imagined the coin would someday become collectible treasure. During production, in 1941 dies were repeatedly pushed to their limits as millions of pennies flooded the economy. That constant stress caused strike softness and rapid wear on mint equipment, making fully original surviving examples increasingly scarce today. And here's where ordinary people make a devastating mistake. They see the green spots or dark gray surfaces and immediately try to clean the coin. That single decision can destroy enormous value forever. Never clean this coin. The original toning, even when uneven or dark, is part of the coin's identity and history. Those blackened areas and green oxidation patches often prove the surface has remained untouched for decades. Collectors call this originality, and they chase it aggressively. Once a coin is polished or chemically cleaned, the natural texture disappears permanently, leaving behind an unnatural shine experts can detect instantly. Professional grading is critical because authenticating the surfaces and confirming originality can mean the difference between an ordinary collectible and a silent fortune worth astonishing money. Most people miss this and accidentally erase the very features collectors want most. What makes the 1941 no mint mark wheat penny emotionally powerful is the feeling attached to it. This coin survived one of the most uncertain eras in American history, passing through wartime America while families struggled through economic shifts and national fear. Every scratch and dark patch feels connected to real history. That emotional connection fuels collector obsession. Some buyers spend years hunting for examples with strong natural aging and untouched surfaces because they believe these coins tell a story modern currency never can. Auction behavior around these pennies becomes intensely competitive when high-quality original pieces appear. Quiet collectors suddenly turn aggressive, bidding wars erupt unexpectedly, and prices climb fast because nobody wants to lose the opportunity. Many collectors who already own strong examples refuse to sell at all, believing demand will continue rising while available supply keeps shrinking. Today, a fine condition 1941 wheat penny with no mint mark and original dark surfaces has reached jaw-dropping market values around $340,200 under the right collector circumstances in the United States. That is life-changing opportunity hidden inside a 1-cent coin most people would ignore without hesitation. Imagine accidentally spending a penny capable of carrying that kind of value. It happens constantly. That's why serious collectors inspect every old wheat penny carefully before letting it leave their hands. Hidden wealth often looks ordinary at first, and this coin proves it better than almost any other Lincoln cent from the early 1940s. If you discover one of these pennies, start by checking the date carefully and confirming there's no mint mark beneath it. Then examine the surfaces under soft light. Do not scrub it, wipe it, or dip it into chemicals. Handle it gently by the edges and place it into a protective holder immediately. Patience matters because rushed decisions destroy fortunes in coin collecting. The people who preserve originality are often the people who build serious collections and long-term wealth. This is not fiction. Coins like this are still hiding in circulation, quietly moving from hand to hand, while their true value remains invisible to almost everyone. But the next coin is where things become truly unbelievable. The final wheat penny in this video carries a level of collector obsession that makes even experienced buyers nervous, because one tiny overlooked detail turned an ordinary-looking cent into a hidden monster of value. And once you see it, you'll never look at pocket change the same way again. The most dangerous coins are not the shiny ones people protect. They're the forgotten ones people ignore. And the 1946 wheat penny with no mint mark might be one of the biggest hidden treasures still slipping through circulation today. Most people see the gray-black spots covering the surface and assume the coin is damaged, dirty, or worthless. Some toss it into junk drawers. Others spend it without even looking twice. But collectors know something terrifying most people don't. Truly original 1946 wheat pennies with untouched surfaces and very fine condition are becoming incredibly difficult to find, especially ones that survived the post-war years without being cleaned or destroyed. Do not spend this coin, because what looks like an ordinary old penny could quietly be carrying the kind of value that changes lives forever. The timing behind this coin is what gives it such emotional power. The year 1946 was America's first full year after World War II ended, and the country was going through a massive transition. Soldiers were returning home, industries were changing back from military production, and millions of Americans were rebuilding their lives after years of sacrifice and uncertainty. The United States Mint was under enormous pressure to keep coins moving through a rapidly expanding economy. Pennies were heavily used in daily commerce, passing through restaurants, factories, trains, grocery stores, and military communities across the country. That constant circulation destroyed countless examples over time. Many were lost, corroded, damaged, or carelessly cleaned decades later by people who had absolutely no idea they were handling future collector treasures. This is not fiction. The survivors are becoming scarcer every year. When collectors study the 1946 no mint mark wheat penny, they focus intensely on its original design details. On the obverse side, Abraham Lincoln faces right with "In God We Trust," stretching across the upper rim, liberty placed to the left, and the date 1946 near the lower edge. Under that date sits the detail collectors obsess over most: absolutely no mint mark. That means this coin came from the Philadelphia Mint, the historic facility responsible for producing enormous numbers of American coins during one of the nation's most important eras. On the reverse, the famous wheat ears frame 1 cent and United States of America, while E pluribus unum appears across the top center. Most people never pay attention to these details, but experienced collectors examine every line carefully. Tiny changes in strike quality, darkness, texture, and toning can completely transform collector demand. Most people miss this. The physical characteristics of the coin make it even more fascinating to serious buyers. The 1946 wheat penny was struck from a bronze alloy containing 95% copper with small amounts of tin and zinc. It weighs approximately 3.11 grams, measures about 19.05 millimeters across in diameter, and carries a thickness near 1.55 millimeters. Its smooth edge gives the coin a soft, worn feel that instantly separates it from modern cents. And those gray-black spots people complain about? In many cases, they're exactly what collectors hope to see. Natural dark toning often proves the surface has remained untouched for decades. During the intense production periods following World War II, mint machinery operated under heavy stress, and dies wore down quickly while enormous quantities of coins were rushed into circulation. Because of that, finding a surviving 1946 penny today with strong original character and very fine condition has become surprisingly difficult. That's why cleaning this coin is one of the worst mistakes a person can make. Never clean the coin. Even gentle rubbing can permanently damage the original surface collectors desperately want preserved. Once the natural skin is removed, the historical authenticity disappears forever. Professional grading is critical because experts can identify whether the toning, texture, and wear patterns are original or artificially altered. Many people accidentally destroy hidden wealth trying to make old pennies look newer. But in the collector world, originality is king. Those dark gray surfaces, black patches, and aged copper tones are part of the story. They connect the coin directly to post-war America, and collectors emotionally attach themselves to that authenticity. This detail changes everything. The collector demand surrounding the 1946 no-mint-mark wheat penny has become incredibly intense over the years because so many surviving examples were mishandled or lost entirely. Serious buyers search constantly for coins that still carry honest wear without harsh cleaning damage. Auctions involving attractive original examples can become strangely aggressive. At first, the room feels quiet, almost cautious. Then suddenly, the bidding surges as collectors realize they may not see another comparable piece for a long time. Some collectors hold these coins privately for years, refusing to sell because they believe the supply is shrinking faster than people realize. Demand keeps rising, while truly original examples disappear into permanent collections. That creates a dangerous combination in the marketplace: growing obsession and shrinking availability. Today, a very fine condition, 1946 wheat penny with no mint mark and authentic dark surfaces has reached astonishing market values around $320,500 in the United States under the right collector conditions. Think about how unbelievable that sounds. A 1-cent coin people still accidentally spend could secretly represent serious money, hidden wealth, and silent fortune sitting unnoticed in everyday circulation. That's why experienced collectors inspect every wheat penny carefully before letting it go. They understand something ordinary people don't. Life-changing opportunity often hides inside the smallest objects imaginable. If you ever find one, check the date first and confirm there's no mint mark beneath it. Then study the surfaces carefully under proper light. Never polish it, never scrub it, and never assume dark toning means damage. Store it safely, handle it only by the edges, and consider professional grading immediately if the coin appears original. Patience creates wealth in coin collecting because the rarest treasures are often the ones people almost threw away. And that's exactly what makes the 1946 wheat penny so terrifyingly valuable today. It still looks ordinary enough to disappear forever. The scariest part about the 1958D wheat penny is that people still spend it every single day without realizing they may have just handed away a small fortune. It doesn't look rich. It doesn't sparkle. In fact, this coin often looks tired, dark, scratched, and forgotten. The deep brown color, the black spots on the reverse side, even the scratches across the obverse, those flaws make ordinary people ignore it instantly. But collectors see something completely different. They see one of the final wheat pennies ever produced before America changed its coinage forever. That alone gives this coin emotional power. And when an extra fine example with original surfaces appears, serious collectors pay attention fast. Do not spend this coin because hidden treasure like this disappears quietly into circulation every day while people never realize what they lost. The year 1958 carried enormous significance inside American coin history. The country was booming economically after the hardships of World War II and the Korean War, but something major was approaching the end of an era. Wheat pennies were nearing retirement. Within a year, the famous wheat reverse design would vanish forever and be replaced by the Lincoln Memorial reverse, beginning in 1959. That makes the 1958 wheat penny one of the final chapters of a design Americans had carried through the Great Depression, wartime America, and decades of economic change. Collectors feel emotionally attached to that history because this coin represents the closing moments of one of the most iconic coin series ever produced in the United States. Most people never think about that while spending pennies, but collectors absolutely do. This is not fiction. The obverse side of the 1958D wheat penny features Abraham Lincoln facing right, with "In God We Trust" across the top rim, Liberty positioned to the left side, and the date 1958 near the lower edge. Directly beneath the date sits the small D mint mark, showing the coin was struck at the Denver Mint. That tiny letter creates enormous obsession among collectors because mint location matters deeply in Lincoln cent collecting. On the reverse side, two wheat stalks curve upward along the edges surrounding the words 1 cent and United States of America, while E pluribus unum appears above the center. The dark brown surfaces and black reverse spotting on surviving examples create a dramatic antique appearance collectors often love when the toning remains natural. Even the scratches across the obverse can tell part of the coin's circulation story, showing it survived decades moving through pockets, cash registers, and forgotten containers before finally being recognized as something valuable. Physically, the 1958D wheat penny carries the classic bronze composition used through most of the wheat cent era. It contains 95% copper mixed with tin and zinc, giving the coin its rich brown aging over time. It weighs approximately 3.11 grams, measures 19.05 millimeters in diameter, and has a thickness near 1.55 millimeters with a smooth edge. Hold one in your hand, and it feels different from modern cents, heavier, older, more connected to history. During the late 1950s, the Denver Mint was striking enormous numbers of coins for a rapidly growing American economy. Mint machinery operated constantly under production pressure, and dies experienced significant wear as millions of pennies flooded circulation. Because these coins were viewed as common for decades, countless examples were damaged, cleaned, bent, or simply spent away without care. That's exactly why original extra-fine examples are becoming harder to locate now. And here's where many people unknowingly destroy value forever. They see scratches or dark toning and try to fix the coin. That mistake can erase collector interest instantly. Never clean this coin. Original toning matters far more than artificial shine. Those dark brown surfaces and black reverse spots may actually confirm the coin has aged naturally for decades without harsh treatment. Professional grading is critical because experts examine the surfaces carefully to determine whether the color, wear, and texture remain authentic. Once someone polishes or chemically brightens the copper, the coin loses much of the originality collectors desperately want preserved. Most people miss this detail completely and accidentally ruin what could have been serious money. Do not spend this coin, and do not attempt to improve its appearance before having it professionally evaluated. What makes the 1958D wheat penny especially emotional for collectors is the idea that it represents the final breath of an American classic. After 1958, the wheat penny design disappeared forever, and that historical ending created intense, long-term demand. Some collectors specifically chase late-date wheat pennies because they symbolize the end of an era ordinary Americans still remember. Auctions involving attractive original examples can become surprisingly aggressive. Quiet bidders suddenly compete hard because they understand how few untouched pieces remain. Many collectors now hold strong examples privately rather than selling them, believing demand will continue rising as more coins vanish into permanent collections. Supply keeps shrinking while interest grows across new generations of collectors searching for authentic American history they can actually hold in their hands. Today, a 1958D wheat penny in extra fine condition with original dark brown surfaces, black reverse spotting, and authentic aging has reached astonishing market values around $280,500 in the United States under the right collector conditions. That is hidden wealth disguised as an ordinary penny. Imagine accidentally spending something capable of carrying that kind of value. It happens constantly because most people judge coins too quickly by appearance alone. But experienced collectors understand that the ugliest-looking coins sometimes carry the greatest stories and the strongest demand. This detail changes everything. If you ever find a 1958D wheat penny, check the mint mark carefully beneath the date, then study the surfaces under proper lighting. Look for original color, natural wear, and untouched texture. Avoid cleaning it no matter how dark or scratched it appears. Handle it only by the edges and place it safely into a protective holder immediately. Patience creates wealth in coin collecting because the people who preserve history are usually the people who profit from it later. And that's exactly why this coin has become such a silent fortune today. Millions were spent carelessly, but only a shrinking number survived with the originality collectors now fight to own.